Two Cents, the podcast, with your host, Clint in Washington, and your co-host, DeAngelo Gillespie. Let's go.
Welcome once again to another episode of 2 Cent, the podcast. And as usual, your favorite uncle is here in front of the microphone. And because of contractual reasons, I have to announce my sidekick.
The hero.
The hero.
I wanna going forward, let's just be known as
the hero. Well, we got the dreaded one in here, Mr. Single out here in these streets. DeAngelo Gillespie. What's going on, man?
Back in Beaverton.
Back in
goddamn Beaverton. We back in the dungeon, goddamn it. We got a little too highfalutin out there in St. Helens at Uncle Clint's house. But the prodigal son has returned home, and we are back in the goddamn dungeon.
We are back in Beaverton recording as we started out. Mm-hmm. And, a little cramped, but I'm okay. I haven't forgot where I came from.
That's cozy. That's not cramped.
Humble beginnings.
A little bit.
Hey, you know what? Before we get into this podcast, man, this is a very sad occasion.
Oh, what's going on?
We both lost money at the casino last night.
Man, that shit was trash.
It was horrible. I'm not gonna.
I tell y'all what though, we was up.
I was so far up. I
won't lie. For a minute, I thought I was in your tax bracket. For a minute, I was like, I am out here gambling with Uncle Clint, and y'all looked at me like I was an equal. I put that goddamn 100 down on the one hand. One that bitch, I'm looking at you like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Like the fucking intro say.
Hey, I love the crap table, and I did some ridiculous bets. It's like stupid.
Yeah, we was high for a minute, and then I was like, man, yeah, I'm going to have the valet bring my goddamn truck around. I ain't even wait for your ass to come out. I was like, man, I'm going home. I don't know what you finna do. I'm going home.
I get on the crap table, and I play the field.
I'm telling you,
that's
man.
25% chance of winning, but I play the field.
Hey, we was up. I don't want to talk about the kind of money we lost, but just know.
Hey, listen.
We was
the
up.
bets I was placing, man, I hit that hard 12 several times, and I was just like, I can't lose, so I started making big money bets. And, man, I'm telling you, this casino was just like, yeah boy.
We could have bought y'all. With the money we left out there, we could have bought y'all the late 90s, early 2000s, something just to scoot around in.
Man, it was horrible. I was depressed. I was depressed. I got in about.
And you weren't even drunk, so you felt all that shit. I'm glad I had been drinking.
Man, I got in about 4:30 in the morning. I'm just laying there in the bed going, you know what?
That's why you asked me to.
You know what? You know what really pissed me off? My wife. If she wasn't out of town, I probably wouldn't even went to the casino.
I'm not gonna lie.
So it's her fault.
You made that last bet. You sobered me up. Ooh, when he took your one out that goddamn board, I was like, oh Lord.
It's all a part of gambling and good fun, and that just means I'm gonna have to talk to my neighbors and see if I can cut a few lawns and trim some trees and make a little extra money.
About to
make it back.
About to get me a fucking paper route. Shit real out here.
It's the worst feeling in the world to lose when you done won so much. I'm saying, oh man, I was so far up, and I gave every single dime plus some back.
I ain't gonna lie. When I was up, I thought I'm gonna buy one of these damn Oculus. Clint got. I played with Clint Oculus yesterday. I was like, this shit is nice. I was up. I'm like, what that $2.99 easy. And then I came home. I was like, I done fucked over the gas money.
Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue to educate you.
Yeah.
And the best way we can do that is not with our education.
Yeah, we got somebody smarter than us, way smarter than us today. Yeah.
We're bringing in.
Let's see if he knows it.
Dr. James Muruthi.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
My man comes to us.
Dr. J.
As a college professor.
Yeah, he is.
From the School of the Ducks, the University of Oregon. And
where you go before that? No.
Yeah, where he go before then?
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's a college professor out there.
Yeah. He been
Right.
to a few schools. I just want to know. It's one of them in there that I recognize.
Virginia Tech.
No, that wasn't the one. I saw that one too, but that ain't the important one.
I think that's not the most important.
No, that ain't the one.
Okay, what about the Miami University?
Yeah, that wasn't it either.
That wasn't either.
I didn't even see that one.
Okay, what about the publications?
Anyway, Dr. James went to UGA, y'all. I hear that shit. You keep on got the. Oh, go dogs. You know what you got there. You know what? Anyway, Dr. Muruthi.
He went to the University of Mangy Months. I'm sorry, Atlanta. He went to the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
University of Georgia, Georgia Bulldogs.
Out there in Athens.
That's your mascot, right?
Out there in Athens. Yeah.
Okay.
You know the dogs. Clint, you know what? Clint is such a goddamn hater. You know, you got to watch. You got to watch him. You got to watch. Dudes from Cali, you got to watch them, man, because they do stuff like that.
Associated with that logo, though, you know.
Man, let's get to the podcast.
Hey.
Y'all always trying to drag you down, man. You got to watch it there.
Dr. Muruthi.
Yes, sir.
It is really an honor to have you here.
Yep.
You know, I'm reading right off of this guy's credentials.
Yeah.
His main research interest is on family and neighborhood factors, social capital. We're going to talk about social capital and health disparities amongst aging, marginalized individuals. He has also conducted studies using large public data sets. And, you know, data sets, man, it's so far over my head. But I'm going to tell you, you know.
Data sets, you can talk about that at work. Never mind.
Well, we collect data. But
Yeah,
when
but
you throw the.
what you think a data set is?
But when you throw the word set on the end, it's
all you can think of is gang shit. You know what? You know what? James, we here. Clint, you know about a hat. He into some.
Hey, so postdoctoral associates, Human Development and Family Science Center. Man, what is that?
Hey, listen.
Gerontology.
I don't even know what that is. What'd you say?
Gerontology.
Gerontology?
Yes.
Gerontology.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what it is, but
what do you think it is?
Well, for some reason, I want to go to geriatrics, but I don't want to.
I mean,
what is it?
Put a guess in. You were gambling yesterday.
So, geriology? I don't know. Is it make sure with older people?
Yes.
No, I thought it was the study of old people because I think of geriatric when I think about it. So that's where I think. What is it?
You're on the right track. Yeah. So it's like geriatric, but not, focusing on medicine.
Oh.
So it's social, psychological, mental health kind of stuff.
See, Clint, my deduction was right. See,
Yeah,
you know what?
you
You always
were
trying to
right
make me
on
look
track.
stupid, man. But I was right.
He had never heard of the word in the first place.
No, I
He
had
don't
never
know.
heard. Hey, but you know what?
Clint don't know a lot of words.
You
So
put your
saying,
GED to work, man. That's good. I love it. So Doc, listen.
Yeah.
Give us an education because people are sitting out here and they're listening,
Yeah.
and you talk about health disparities.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start there.
Right.
Let's start there. Health disparity. What exactly is that, and how are you trying to conquer that?
Thank you. And I'm happy to be here. It's been a blessing to connect with you two and the listeners, of course. But it's a blessing to have such educators in our midst and trying to do good things for our community. So first of all, we have to get that out of the way. But when I think about health disparities, you have to think of them in terms of what words are composed in that phrase, right?
Okay.
There's health and then there's disparities. So health, everybody knows what health is. Ranging from your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, cultural health, family health, every kind of health is lumped in there. The disparity part is why is there a big difference between minorities and white people, especially hetero white people.
Right.
So even within the white people, there's a group that is faring way better than the other groups. So in general, the data out there, everybody in the health studies knows that minorities are faring worse than white people. So that's where I'm at. So why is it that we're faring worse than white people? And how can I tackle that?
No, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, the second part of your question was, how am I handling it? How am I going about it? I think I've focused on what do we have at our fingertips that we can actually change so that our health is a little better. Okay. Of course, we know the structural stuff. And of course, my work is based on that. Equity and in terms of health access, how we're accessing health, and how our neighborhood changing or impacting us within the same change that we're talking about, right? So social capital or social support, social networks is the one thing that we always have. You're born with it because you're born in a family, and that right there is a social network for you. And your family can either build you or break you, right? Okay. Right? Your spouse, your children, your teacher, we'll get to that point later, can break you or make you, yeah? So those are some of the modifiable things within our neighborhoods, within our families that we can actually change to better our lives. So that's how I'm tackling it in my research and my teaching at the moment.
Now, how long have you been doing this research?
Since I was a grad student, about 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, D. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to ask you, because a lot of times when we think of health, we think that the only reason why minorities aren't don't have that kind of access is a lot of times where we're speaking about things people think it's as simple as insurance. Mm. However, you know what I'm saying, in healthcare, but the way you're saying it, it's almost like you're speaking to something greater. Is why the disparity is so large. I mean, the divide is so large.
And that's the thing. Like, they're correct in thinking that health insurance is one part of it, because health insurance and access to health insurance is part of it.
Because it makes you not. A lot of times, it makes people not even want to explore it.
Yes.
Like I'm getting into that age where I need a prostate exam soon, and honestly, I'm getting old.
Probably already should have had one.
If
yeah, several.
Yeah,
gentlemen. So, okay. So I need one now,
right.
And I'll be honest with you. Like, I feel like our community is one of which where if I didn't have health insurance, I probably wouldn't even cross my mind that this is something. I know I need to do it because I hang around smarter gentlemen than myself. So once you get up to that age, they're like, yo, have you done this? It's just kind of in your checklist with going out to the casino, man. You had a prostate? You know what I'm saying? Just regular shit that grown men talk about. But to go back to the original question, like I said, is it bigger than just simply healthcare? Is it a mindset of why we don't do it? I mean, is it us and something greater?
It's 100% both. Meaning that we have a part to play in it, and the structure also has a part to play in it. And in health disparities research, we lean more on the structural disadvantages, which what I'm talking about right now is, our communities, for the most part, have poor jobs that don't give them health insurance and health benefits, etc. And so, like yourself or anybody else, of course, you have good health insurance, but someone who does not have good health insurance will put off going to see the doctor because of the cost, because of not having insurance. They do not know if that doctor will be nice to them or not. But then again, on that same scenario, there's this issue of, do we trust the medical system, right? Okay. Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's part of it because this is part of
the
Exactly. This is part of that hesitancy of, I'm not going to see this doctor because this doctor is white. He does not know or she does not know what I've been through, right? If I'm telling him that, hey, my family is this is why I had to give up my ride to go to work, instead take the bus to come here, that's why I'm late. So please don't put the penalty on my, appointment.
Okay,
things like that.
Yeah, because that $59.95, that's quite a bit just to miss an appointment.
Right.
Wait, what's that? What's that? I don't even know, y'all missing. It's $59 to miss an appointment.
It's $59.95. They just shy.
If you do what?
$60 for missing
an
appointment.
What kind of appointment?
Just a medical appointment.
Yeah, let's say you have the prostate exam at 2. It's the appointment is at 2. You show up at 2:10. They'll cancel it and charge you for lateness.
All right, well, I ain't giving you your goddamn copay then. How about that?
They don't care. They finna build.
I don't give a damn. I've been seen now.
They'll mess up your credit though.
Good day, sir. No, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
So you ask whether it's bigger than just us. Yes, it's bigger than just us because you have to look at the system. Like, okay, how many black doctors are out there that we trust, that we can go to for prostate exams and things like that, that are really, people that can actually understand our trauma, things that actually do exist within our community. But at the same time, we also have, relationships we have not healed. We have children that we're not taking care of. Of course, we know that there's also the other half of this spectrum of, people who are doing good work, healing themselves, healing relationships, healing their, their children and being there for their children. But at the same time, we have a part to play in all this, right? Yeah. But where I'm standing, or from where I stand, it's just like whatever happened in Colorado recently, right? Like gun control can be a big impact right there, right? Because it's a policy change, right? That policy change can impact so many lives and so many situations. And that's where we're coming at. Like, if health policy can be changed to be more inclusive and more accessible, then our community will thrive much better than if we just rely on people to do, I don't know, yoga and run and, eat vegetables, which actually we have food deserts in our neighborhood. So there you go.
How do we do that, though? Like, how do you, let's talk plainly.
So wait. Let me jump in front of you for a second before we go too far. For us that don't have a PhD or a doctorate in anything or a doctor behind our name, I just want to break it down to being as simple and easy as possible. Before we go where DeAngelo is going, what is health disparity? Just so people understand.
Yeah. We don't want to lose them with jargon.
What is health disparity?
Yeah, I mean. And again, I think I started by saying that we have to tease those two apart, right? So then health disparity is, why is it that other populations fare much better than we are? That's it. There's a dispersion. If, let's say, for example, looking at cancer, the rates of mortality and morbidity, so basically people who die and people who become sick of a certain disease, are higher among Black and Latino people and even Native Americans. So the health disparity is that gap. So there's a health gap in people who are doing well and people who are doing bad or, have poor health. So that's the health disparity gap, right? So, and really you can use this phrase for anything. You can call it economic disparity. You can call it structural disparity, right? But now we're talking about health disparity. Why is there disparity among among individuals in the society? Why is there a difference between the people who are doing very good in health and the people who are doing worse in health? And really that's what health disparity is all about.
Now, if you was to break that down to, why it's there, and I always thought about this, and I mentioned before on the podcast, I'm a diabetic.
Okay.
Right? But diabetes doesn't run rampant in Africa. I'm of African descent, but it doesn't run rampant in Africa. Now, a lot of professionals would tell me, well, it's
the trash American diet.
Right. And they would blame it on trash American diet. But this is the thing. So, diabetics out there, they know what I'm talking about. You can prick your finger. You can check your blood glucose level. And I had a friend, I wanted to check one time. And they were, we had just ate something, and I knew my blood sugar was going to be through the roof. And I checked theirs didn't budge. Mine was freaking through the roof. So, okay, you can talk about hereditary, but then I'm looking like, I'm pissed. We're both of African American descent, and 2 hours later, this food is not having the effect on you that it has on me. But something happened. Now I have my own theories and stuff like that, and I'm quite sure they're probably ridiculous to what real life is. But but that's that health disparity where I'm like, why is it that food affects me this way versus how it would affect DeAngelo?
Yes, and you touched on it. One of the reasons we said it was hereditary. So it's genetic. Right. That there's some people who are just born with it. And there are people who are behaviorally affected. My daddy was diabetic too, right? And actually he lived in Africa. So that's funny. You're mentioning it's not rampant in Africa, but he had it in Africa. And that's the thing. There's more than just structural impacts of this gap that we're seeing. There's something that, hey, your daddy was just a poor daddy. And that's why you turned out to be sick and depressed, right? So that is on your daddy, and your parents messed you up this much, right? And there's also that part of, this is just the hand fate dealt me. It's just genetic and I cannot do much about it. And that's why DeAngelo here is doing better than I am. So even within our communities, there is health disparities, right?
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So even within us, as Black people, and when I say our community here, I'm saying Black, amongst us, they still have disparities. Like myself, I'm working for a good institution. I have healthcare. You too have good healthcare. Of course, we're going to fare better than somebody who is not employed as we are.
But you know what? I feel like some of it is a mental thing, because we all know people who are financially secure enough to secure health care. It is just not pertinent to them. It is not something that is ever present on their minds. Think about it, man. We all know somebody who got a good job, who has health care. Even if they don't have health care, they have disposable income. They have means to where if you wanted to get a physical every year,
you can.
You could.
So is that a thing of
motherfuckers don't even know how much a physical is? You know why? Because that shit don't matter until you hurt.
Well, but is that a thing of where
it's
people don't want to know the truth?
I that, and I think a lot of this is, I hate to say shit like this, it's what your mama did. It's what your mama and daddy told you. If my mother and father had never taken me to the dentist, I probably wouldn't care about going to the dentist. If they had never taken me for physicals, if I had never played any sports, I'd probably never know what a physical was. Think about it. When did you get your first physical? Probably when you played your first sport. And then, you didn't?
I'm from a different era. So you always had to get a physical in order to get your shots to go to school.
Well, listen, I don't know what happened in 1919, but look, I didn't get my first physical till I was going to play Pee Wee football or whatever, man. But I feel like
we didn't need physicals back then. They just gave us a helmet and some.
And your ass is on the way. But I'm serious. I almost don't think it's a. Let me not say that. It's not a money thing for everybody.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not
psychological,
a mentally aware thing, that because Clint is a little older than me, so Clint will tell me things that I might not see initially, like, yo, check on that, like, do that, like, because you should, because you need somebody in your circle to say, wait, you're just gonna leave that like that? Like, don't do that.
But you see, you're actually connecting the conversation tonight, right? That you're talking about Clinton telling you, yo, you need to check that. That means the connection that you have with him just saved you, in terms of telling you, hey, go get a physical. But I want to kind of circle back to your opening statement there, that it's more than money. Yes, it's more than money. It's not that easy to pinpoint what causes the disparity. And this is what we're getting at. There's more than one thing that impacts your health, right? And there's individual factors, there's family factors, there's neighborhood factors, there's, state factors, city factors, state factors, nation factors, right? And global factors. So you are, if you think of yourself as a concentric circles, you're like a tiny, tiny circle within a ginormous circle of, hey, there's this relationship or this fellowship we're having right now has something that's doing towards. Right now, we're talking about intellectual stuff. We're teaching people. It's changing our mental health, whether you like it or not, right? And that is the immediate circle that we have. Outside, your neighbors, that guy over there, outside with the babies, is also within your cycles, right? So this is basically what I'm getting at. Is called the social convoy of health, social convoy, which means that within our cycles are people that influence us, and the cycle grows to acquaintances or just some random fan on Facebook that likes your photo.
We getting all of the vocab words today. Well, you said social convoy?
Yeah.
Oh, look it up, people.
Write that down.
I just want to quickly, Clinton, you got it. What can we do to change this?
Ask a specific question, because you just said what can we do to change this?
So
change what?
So we are. I feel like we are identifying the problem.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, we have the problem. And I know if there were one solution, then we would just point to that solution, and then we would no longer have the problem. So it's unfair to frame a question and how do we fix it? Let's say, what are some solutions that we can try? Because if we, like I said, if we knew the answer, then we wouldn't have the problem.
We wouldn't be here, yeah.
So I'm looking at, man, your research is freaking amazing. I don't know if I would even want to.
Let me get a job, player.
Yeah. So your current research program combines health disparity and strength and coping frameworks to investigate mechanisms through which social capital directly or indirectly impacts health. That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot to say.
And it goes to the question that he just asked, DeAngelo just asked, of what should we do? What are we doing? How are we going to change this?
Yeah.
And what you just read is me saying, okay, well, one thing we could do is to have robust relationships amongst ourselves and change that into profitable in terms of health, not money, profitable ways of making our health even more robust and our communities, so that our communities are thriving, right? So that's a small way that we can change our health and well-being.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
So if I tell my wife she should listen and do everything I tell her to do, that's going to be beneficial to my health and well-being?
Probably
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
It don't work like
No.
that. I never get nothing.
You're going to sleep on the couch, man.
It's like the lottery.
You
I
wish
never
you was gonna
win.
get the
I
couch.
never win. No, but so when I like the health disparity, I understand, the financial part of it. I understand the social part of it. And now what kind of has me intrigued is the psychological part of it, right? So when you talk about a health disparity, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, psychologically, let's say, for example, you have a parent or a sibling who has health issues, right? And, like I have an inherited disease of diabetes, right? Now we're talking about psychological health, right?
Yeah.
Now when we get into the psychological health part, it's not the schizophrenia or, that type of psychological health, but it's just, psychologically not wanting to go to the doctor, not wanting to hear the bad news, not wanting to continue with the medication, and people who are out there who are real human beings, diet and exercise is freaking hard, right? It's hard to keep your body weight at a healthy weight, but at the same time keeping yourself healthy, because psychologically, women or men are drawn to go to the doctor for the easy fix. What do they call?
I don't know, man. You ain't gonna get me started with it.
Oh no, we gonna go up on that hill. We gonna die together. That's what
Let's
this partnership
go.
is about.
Let's have fun.
You have people who
I done been around Clint long enough where he trying to say people taking the shortcut with these lap bands and these gastric bypasses and these tummy tucks. I know what Clint going. He's trying to trick you into a conversation by telling people that ain't shit for doing that. No. Go ahead, Clint.
Let's go.
But you think about that.
Tell him it's dangerous, Doc.
When you're psychologically, you want to get healthy. You understand that being overweight is unhealthy. You want to live a long, prosperous life, but you can't because well, you probably could, but you're limited because of your weight. So the easy solution is, these stomach
Man, that's not the easy
band things.
That's not the easy solution.
Or liposuction. You know what I'm saying? And but is that psychologically safe? Because I had a person that I knew years ago, they had the lap band surgery. And they told me that they had to also continue with counseling afterwards.
Yes.
How is that psychologically healthy? Because you took this life band to get healthy. Lap band.
Yo, I said a life band. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Hey, I was about to say something to get me in trouble.
Please don't.
But, you have the lap band surgery, but one of the things that the doctors recommend is that you continue counseling or you go to therapy. How is that psychologically healthy?
I think what you're getting at is health is so interconnected that it's crazy, right? So the reason the doctor is telling that person to keep going to counseling is your identity is changing very fast, faster than natural. You know what I'm saying? Because of these surgeries, people are changing who they are, their body weight, the dresses they wear, the sizes, etc. It's changing very quickly.
I never even thought about that.
See, that's why it's good to have a doctor.
Yeah, man. No. That's good, man. I never even thought about that because you are drastically changing overnight, literally, and
now all of a sudden dudes are looking at you, girls are looking at you.
Your mind needs time to catch up to your body now.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's deep.
I did ask a friend. I asked her, I said,
God, you can make me rich right now. I promise you I promise you I will cope. I can cope with this shit.
I asked a friend, I said, what was the biggest change that psychologically affected you once you had the lap band surgery? And what they told me was the attention. The attention that they received from, the opposite sex. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't care your size or what you look like. You're going to get attention. But
I mean, yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. We're trying to be body positive here. What's up, Nisi? We're trying to be body positive.
But also, we're going to be real, though.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And when this person told me that, I was kind of baffled because I'm like, you see people, obese women or obese men with somebody. They're in a healthy relationship. But this person said that the psychological thing that affected them the most was the attention that they got from the opposite sex. And I'm like, that's horrible.
But see, it's connecting. Actually, it's a realization that society is messed up. That's what they're seeing again. Wow. They're saying like, all it took for me to be liked was to lose 50 pounds. And now all of a sudden, all these dudes are running around trying to get my number. Now it's like, again, another level of, man, the society is messed up. We're so superficial.
Yeah.
That all it took is for me to drop 50 pounds. And now all these dudes are lined up in my DM.
Wow.
The crazy shit about that is I honestly think if I dramatically changed that way, I would actually be more turned off by the shit. Because in my mind, it would be, damn, like I'm the same person. I've been the same person. And you let something superficial keep you away from me. And now you feeling me because of some shit that changed like that. Like that could have been changed with a better diet and a fucking gym membership. So if that was enough to keep you away from me, then maybe you just a fucked up person already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What are you doing here with me?
Yeah, and honestly, if I am receptive to it, maybe I'm the fucked up person.
I'm gonna tell you something.
I'm being honest.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this gym membership stuff. Because,
let's go.
You know what? I've had a gym membership for 15 years and I can't find my abs. I'm telling you, the gym membership thing is
a fraud.
It's
Let me tell you something. Clint is never in the gym.
I mean, I can see, but okay.
I'm gonna tell you the real problem.
That's cold.
I'm gonna tell you the real problem. Watch this. The real problem is I'm always in the fucking gym and I still look like this. That's the fucking problem. The problem is Clint called me every goddamn morning after work, after doing the 12, catch me on the Stairmaster huffing and puffing. He'd be like, "Oh, where you at, man? You in the gym?" Anyway, so yeah, man. Clint be like, "Yeah, let me get a burrito, a shrimp burrito, and a diet."
Just add the sour cream.
And here I thought I was joining a group that will give me accountability so that I can go to the gym. What's up with you folks?
Listen, I be in the gym all the time. Clint will sit there and order his food with me on the damn Stairmaster. He don't give a damn.
I'm encouraging him.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat as bad as I eat.
But then let's explore that though. What issue do you have with gym membership? Because you did not finish that thought.
So you know what? When I don't have an issue with gym membership except for I waste my gym membership.
Okay. Well, so it's a personal issue.
Yeah, it's definitely a personal issue because it's like long as I have the gym membership, I felt like I was healthy.
I could always go.
Yeah, I have the choice to go.
Yeah. I can go when I want to go.
Right.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you when I went to we moved, so I had to cancel my local gym membership. And I sat there and I'm debating with the guy, and it's getting kind of emotional because I'm like, well, I don't know if I should cancel it because I might want to come all the way over here to the gym, but I live so far away. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm attached to that gym membership, even though I wasn't utilizing it like I was supposed to.
Tim gym membership is like his membership to fucking Fred Meyer. Okay? If I happen to be out there, I'll put my telephone number in, but I don't know if I'm going to be there.
Listen, every time I would pass by my gym, it's like, oh, I can suck in my stomach. I lost 10 pounds.
Yeah. But then again, that goes back to our very issue that we're talking about today of health and being healthy, right? Yeah. Gym membership was created for that, right?
Right.
For health and well-being. But there's something about motivation. If you don't have the motivation to do it, you don't do it. Right. And that's just human behavior. So there's actually a model. Well, I talk about models a lot because one, I'm a teacher. Two, I think theoretically. So I like putting things in boxes. It's a health behavioral model that actually is about motivational push to do something, right? So basically, if let's say we're trying to make sure that your gym membership is actually effective, we can create interventions to motivate you towards actually picking your stuff up and going to the gym. Now, so I guess the problem that I'm seeing here, or the issue, the underlying issue, is human beings just don't get motivated out of nowhere. There has to be something else. Like let's say your wedding is in December. All of a sudden you're like, I need to look fly. So you start going to the gym. There's a motivation. The motivation is your wedding is coming up. You've been proposed, like you said yes. Your wedding is coming up.
You're
so
right.
Let's go to the gym.
You're right. That's the only time. I used to lose about 20 pounds every August and September just to go to Carnival in Miami or Carnival in Trinidad. I used to like in my younger days. Yeah. I could block out 3 months and I could go every.
Can you tell the listeners though why that's important? What's the culture of Carnival and looking right?
Because these women ain't playing with you,
right?
It is gyrating, and we gonna do this shit all night.
And
long.
then too, the men are shirtless.
Yeah. And when you want to play mass,
yes.
You already know. And if I'm playing mass, you already know. I used to go to raw fruits and vegetable diet. My homeboys used to be like, "So you gonna starve yourself?" Yes. The answer is yes.
You also do that for the sneaker ball.
Hey man, listen. You're damn right, Clint. You know how much that goddamn suit was? You're right. You're damn right. Goddamn suit was $700. You're right. I would like to look nice in it, sir. Fuck out of here. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. We're getting off topic. The point is, yes, I agree with you, Dr. James. Yeah. Proper motivation.
Yes.
Everything. You know, I was going to ask you, can you really motivate anybody to do something that it's not already in their mind to do? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I think I told you earlier when we was just chilling before the podcast. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I speak to kids, or I speak at schools or whatever, and I always feel like it's weird when somebody say, "Oh, he's a motivational speaker." I cannot motivate you to do anything that you don't already want to do. You can't. I don't personally believe you can motivate. I can, and I damn sure can inspire you, because what I do and the decisions I make for my life and achievements, even if I do reach my goals, I don't know how they can inspire you. You have to want it. I can show you what worked for me. Like, you could tell me, DeAngelo, if you are really serious about your doctorate, then this is the path that I took. You can say that to me. What you can't make me do is go to school. What you can't make me do is show up in class. What you can't make me do is study. You get what I'm saying? So anytime somebody say things like motivation, I always think to myself, shit, I mean, is it motivational to go to work so you can pay rent? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
but there's a motivation though. If you don't do that, you'll be kicked out.
But
is a built-in motivation.
Is it motivation or is it desperation? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the only job I got right now, and I don't have another one, and I'm not sure how good of friends me and Clint are to stay with him.
I think we're splitting hairs. It's the same thing. We're just calling it different names.
You don't want to stay in my garage. It's cold.
Yeah, but to answer you though, remember I talked about groups having basically health being impacted by more than one thing. There's individual level stuff and all the way to global level stuff, right?
Yes.
That impact your health. What we're saying here is that there's both. There's both personal motivation and the nudge. Like, for example, we have cults. When people are convinced to drink poison, like, for example, the Guyana case, by a cult leader, right? Georgetown, Guyana, right?
Yes.
By a cult leader, they were actually nudged over the edge. They were told that this is a good thing for them. They were nurtured for a long time, and this got to be their understanding, right? So that is actually somebody influencing their choice.
Yeah.
So, and the flip side of that is drug addiction, right? Until somebody is ready for help, they will not go. So basically it goes to your point, DeAngelo, of there's some element of personal choice, you know what? I need to go seek some help. So the three of us can really talk to somebody, try to motivate them to go get help. But until they are ready, they'll go to the facility and stay.
Yeah. Because
we could force them and drive them and drop them off, but they're not ready. They'll take the next taxi back home.
That's why it always, the word motivation always kind of sticks in my craw, I guess, to give you an figure speech, because it's like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if anybody can do that. Like, if you really, I really think it has to be a decision made within yourself, and then now let me do it. I mean, I don't want to, be negative.
Yeah.
I just, when people say that, I just always like, man, I've seen plenty of people try to motivate people, man, and it always happens when they want to, man. I've seen people out on drugs and out in these streets for over 20 years, and then something happened and they got clean. And it's like, you think I ain't try to get you clean before now? You think I ain't want you clean? You think I ain't love you? Can't love somebody to something. And so when I say you can't love someone to something, I don't know if you can support somebody to something. Clint want me to do a bunch of shit that could be beneficial and lucrative for me right now. He tell me all the time. Until it clicks in my mind, I guess we gonna be where we at. You know what I'm saying?
So Doc, I'm gonna throw this out there. You know, I'm dissecting, you know, the things that you wrote about your biography, and but so one of the things is understanding resilience and health among aging LGBTQ plus adults. I mean, please explain that, because, you know, when you talk about aging anyone, you know, is there a difference, you know, if you're LGBTQ versus an aging adult?
Yes, there is.
Please explain.
And I think the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the first part of it, resilience and, you know, growth, positive growth. I feel like minority groups, regardless of which minority groups, we're always viewed from a deficit perspective.
Yes.
Even here in Portland, we're talking about gentrification and dispersal of black people more than we're talking about the thriving people. So basically, you and you are not on the podcast. Right? You and you are not being talked about because you're thriving, you're doing well, you're banding together, you're doing good stuff. But the people we're focusing on is the grandma whose house was sold, blah, 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 and they moved out. But what we're forgetting is maybe this grandma was almost dying, they could not keep up this big house, and they had to move out. And actually, the money they got from this place is making her thrive and her family thrive.
Doc, please be careful, because you gonna piss our.
You damn right. They gonna hate you. They already hate me.
Because I already get hate mail about that. You better talk about gentrification like it's bad. It's got to be bad.
No. I'm not saying it's good though, but I'm saying we have to.
Came in with a salt
capture.
Took care about the house. At gunpoint. Let me stop playing. I'm sorry, guys. Well,
you know,
Two Cent the podcast does not believe that gentrification is a joke. And
exactly.
That's why we lost some friends because of you.
It is a very real topic.
Yes.
We make it fun, but
no. In fact, I almost did a study. It was not funded, but I wanted to study how black older people in Portland dealt with gentrification. And so that's still on my table too.
Oh, we know some folks.
There you go.
We put you through to some people.
There you go. Contact me. But anyway, I'll go back to the resilience piece. So because we're always viewed from a deficit perspective, it's important for me as a black scholar to actually highlight the positive things that are happening within these communities. And so that's why resilience is key. Right. Because for any other group in this world that has been persecuted as much as ours, we're really doing well. We're doing well. We've been enslaved. We've been beat. We've been colonized. But here we are. We're hanging out in the house, air conditioned. We're having a good time, right? So that's why I choose that lens of strength to actually understand our groups, right? So now LGBTQ is also one of the persecuted groups, like black people, right?
Right.
And it's important for us to understand their well-being because, again, like us, black people, their gender identity is another intersecting minority status that they have to deal with. So while they're aging, ageism is something that they have to deal with. And now you add on to that homophobia. And that's also some challenge that they're dealing with. So the intersecting identities is very interesting to me, where race and gender and aging intersect, where race and gender identity and LGBTQ identity intersect. Those are very interesting to me. So now the goal is to highlight the thriving parts of their wellness. So basically, you're doing well. You're healthy. Why did you get healthy? How did you get here? And please, let's tell that part of the story as well, so that we're balancing the scales.
I was going to ask you, by doing that, do you think you can help the opposite end of that spectrum? You know what I mean? Because, like you said, that is a lot. When you put it that way, that's a lot to deal with. Like you said, you have a lot of intersecting things there, especially if you're a minority and you're still going through age,
yes,
and you're dealing with with gender identity. Like it's a lot. So you do this research in hopes that you can better explain it to someone, I guess, struggling with it, or just, you know, I guess, what's your motivation?
Yes, thank you for asking. It's twofold, because one, I'm in academia, so part of it is I'm just participating in the academic debates. And I think that this voice is missing in academic debates, especially this voice written by a minority, understood by a minority, who is going through the same stuff that minority groups are going through, right? Because oftentimes white people or white professors, I don't have anything wrong about against them, but they come into our groups, study us, but they do not understand the cultural innuendos. They do not understand the cues. They don't understand, where to stop. They don't understand where the savior mentality should stop. And you know what? This is now only black people area.
Yeah.
But I do. And so it's important for me as an insider to write our stories. Now, I don't identify as LGBTQ, but the point is there are connecting concepts that we can understand from this group as well. So my general area is minority groups, but I want to focus more on black people moving forward.
Okay, here's two things. All right.
Yes, sir.
A couple things.
Yeah.
What are those connecting? And I'm going to ask you this about different minority groups just to help people get an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Name two connecting factors between African Americans and LGBTQ.
One, employment discrimination. And then number two, also just persecution and being killed.
Okay. Name two factors between Asians and LGBTQ.
Ageism and being left out of conversations, honestly. Like every single conversation sometimes.
Okay, I'm about to challenge
Damn,
you.
he's good. He's good. He's good.
Okay.
He's good over here.
Let's go.
What is the factors between Latino and military veterans?
Funding. That's one thing. Big thing, right?
God damn it, he got that shit quick. Didn't he get that one quick? That was a good one. That was really hard. That was a good question.
But then again,
that was a good question.
Yes, it was a very good question. But then again, these are just things that are coming off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, I know. That's what
and
I'm saying.
there's more.
Yeah.
This is not the only intersecting things that they're both facing. There's more. Right?
You know what? And
2 Cent the podcast. We stepping up the gas. We stepping up the gas, people. It's season 2.
Hey,
yeah.
that mean no sponsor dollars got to go up.
Exactly.
We need more sponsor dollars.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting here talking and I'm going over everything, and it's like we need about 2-3 different segments.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Just
Yeah.
to talk about everything that
Right.
you're talking about.
Right.
Because we know what it is to be oppressed as minorities. We've had celebrities like Serena Williams, the tennis star. She had to save her own life on the table when she was giving birth to her daughter, right? And it's like there's so much to take in, but how do you stay abreast of all that? How do you make sure that you as a minority, or you as a person in general, that you're gaining ground in your psychological health, right? Your social health, which probably might be the same thing, and just your health in general. How do you make sure that you're gaining ground and not losing ground?
Are you asking me as James or in general as human beings?
I want to ask you. Okay, I'm gonna ask you as James
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. I think for me, family has been a grounding factor for me.
Okay.
So I have 2 daughters. One is 3, one is turning one year this month.
Okay.
So knowing that they're well and striving to be well so that they're well is important to me. So I have to make sure that I'm physically well, that I'm mentally well, that I'm psychologically well, that I'm financially well, that I'm all these types of wellness so that my daughters have a good life. And so, I also have a very supportive spouse, who helps me, calls me out. I'm like, I'm an immigrant, so I want to send some cash to my mama. She's like, yeah, I got you, baby. Like, here, let's send. I'm like, hey, I want to send 500. She said, no, let's send 1,000.
Hey, for my conservative friends that are sitting there listening, he is a legal immigrant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me take a turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me take a turn.
Wait, don't take. I got one question
hold on,
about this. I don't want you to go too far.
Hold on. No,
Here's a book and pen, man.
You gonna like this.
Oh, I ain't gonna forget my question.
DeAngelo, you gonna like this. We as human beings,
Right.
we have a tendency to look out for our economic health. We relocate to certain places, cities,
Right.
Damn
states, counties. That's going to be economically safe for us. We're going to have
Economically safe.
economically safe a place we
Nah,
take.
that's
we-
an oxymoron.
No, we take on a job that we can, take care of our family.
Yes.
We move into communities that we feel is safe
Yes.
for our community, our
Community.
for our
For our
families,
families, yes.
right? We move into these communities, we feel like it's safe. we take these jobs in these different states because we feel like it's safe and it's economic security.
Yes.
I agree.
But I'm going to ask you this, Doc. When we don't take into the consideration of the environment that we're raising our children in, because psychologically,
that's a good question.
Me as a father, I'm trying to move to a place to where I can give you a safe environment, put a reasonable roof over your head, and have gainful employment.
Yeah.
But I have a 16-year-old daughter who has never seen a black man or a black young person in her school because there's not any. So is that psychologically safe for her growing up in that environment, or should I move her to Compton?
Psychologically safe.
Yeah. Or should I move her to Compton where she can see more people like her, but it's not physically safe?
I'm going to say you want I was just about to say you want psychologically or you want physically.
And that's my thing. So, you know.
And that's the dilemma. And that's why I think parenting is not for everybody. It's not easy. Right? It's not easy. Like if you're not stressed as a parent, and now again, I'm not going to go down that slope. Yeah. I'm not going to go down that slope.
You don't want to down that hill.
No. But I'm going to speak for me.
Some of our listeners know that ain't shit. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm going to speak for me. Like, I have to be psychologically stressed sometimes because of my daughter's well-being. Because if I'm not, then I'm not doing my job right. I'm just coasting too much. I'm too much on Facebook and IG, and I'm not doing my job as a father. That could be because of my cultural upbringing. I don't know, but that's how I was taught with my dad, by my daddy, right? Yeah. So you ask, is that psychologically good for your 16-year-old child? No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not. Right now, we have friends that live with us. We live in Eugene. That their kiddos are either mixed kids or they're black children. And they're going through identity crisis. Because all they're seeing is white people, and more white people. So these kiddos do not know how to interact with black people. I'm not saying that they have to, but the point here is that they are going through an identity. Yeah, they know how. They do not know the nods, like the dubs, things that we take very for granted because, those are like cultural communications that are subtle within our community that we have to do. I show up in Eugene and brothers are not doing this. I'm like, what's wrong with you, man?
I'm going to tell you, that goes back to what you said. I don't know if you said it on the podcast. I think you did say it earlier. You said why you need a college education, a formal education. Let me tell you, you know what college really teaches? Or rather what it taught me? Teaches you how to deal with people that otherwise would never be around you. And I feel like formal education forces you to reach a goal with people that I wouldn't talk to. So a professor may say, y'all are on a team. I may have someone from Delaware, someone from Kenya, someone from Alaska. I don't give a damn about none of that shit. Get your research together.
Let's do this.
Y'all fuck my grade up. We gonna have a different problem than where you from.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of what, or rather, that's what I got out of it. It taught me to deal with people that I normally wouldn't deal with in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
That's part of it, of course. But to me, as an educator, I want to think college should teach you to be a critical thinker and an independent thinker. So if actually that's part of it, because part of it for you, I
feel like socially, everyone knows someone who just cannot socially adapt to. I know people that I cannot drop in Eugene. They are not mentally stable enough to deal with that.
Yeah,
they not, man. They not because they can't navigate that. They don't understand that, and they are not secure enough to. I don't even want to say assimilate because I don't want them to do that. I want them to be able to be themselves and still thrive in this situation. Yeah. But they don't. I got a very smart friend of mine who was on the podcast, Gary. He told you he moved to Cali and they couldn't do it. He got homesick. There's no reason. And you know what? The capitalist in me says, you want to get homesick for it? You got a good job.
Right.
You're getting more money than you ever got in your life. You got kids. You got a wife. Get this money. But they gave up the money for a peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? Now, if somebody asks me, DeAngelo, you going to give up money for a peace of mind? Fuck no. My mind, really? You know what? Maybe at the age I am now. 25, no. He was talking. I guess he was talking about 25. So he was talking. But Now, yes, because now I'm old enough to understand that money can't give me that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell a man that at 25 that don't worry about the $100,000. Take the 40 and be happy and have a peace of mind and be spiritually sound and emotionally whole and be able to give something to your family.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand that where I'm from, man. Give me the money.
Yeah.
Give me the money and I'll deal with the mental breakdown that I'm having another time. Because I'm being honest.
Yeah. You've said two things, and you said something earlier that Clint said something earlier that I need to underline here. You've said where I'm from. That means what? Environment. And you said earlier, you're thinking about money environment or wellness and, mental health environment, right? And that is going back to, again, what I said earlier about these concentric cycles, right? That our environment do inform how we grow, healthy or unhealthy. It's an honest truth. So, I don't know if you guys were talking about it or I heard it from somewhere else. A kiddo, 2 years old, shot in a drive-by shooting.
I talked about that.
Right? Yeah, you talked about that, right? So that kid's life is literally ended at 2 years old because of the environment, right? So we cannot leave this discussion today saying, oh, you know what? We've packaged this nicely and we know what the issue is and we're going to tackle it. Because it's not that easy. Because there's a lot of layers infiltrating your health. And that is, if nothing else is taken from my conversation today, I hope people do understand that the neighborhood, the family, the friends you keep, the work environment do influence how you age and how you're living your life.
But it's a lot to ask you to manipulate all of that.
And that's why there's therapy, and that's why there's brothers like this one that you go drinking with and have a good time with. So yes, it's a lot, but that's human nature. You cannot run away from it.
So Dr. James, what's your impact?
Wait.
Oh, my bad.
So let me step on here. So this is one of our Wednesday ritual.
Mm.
We have a Wednesday ritual.
Okay.
That I start texting these guys. We're going to breakfast.
Yeah.
That's part of my psychological
There you go.
health.
Every 8 a.m. every Wednesday morning.
About 8:30. But I get
He's
with
always
them
late, yeah.
on Wednesdays. Now, for me, you think about a 7-day week. Wednesday is where I'm at my 7-day max. I need this outlet.
Yes.
And I get with these brothers and we just have breakfast.
Yes.
And we may have a
few drinks
cocktail or whatever.
At breakfast.
But we have breakfast.
Yeah.
But psychologically, it's not just psychologically safe for me, but it's psychologically safe for my wife.
Yes.
Because when I get home, I don't take the work week home. I left it at the breakfast table.
Yes.
That's where we decompress.
You vented,
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about work, but sometimes we are not.
Yes.
I tell them things that I'm going through at work or, most of my, probably 6 days stress is trying to keep DeAngelo on task, but, but seriously, we talk about stuff. We talk about the episodes of the podcast. We talk about, our lives and,
current news.
Current news and stuff like that. But it's like when I leave there, that baggage is left back there in that restaurant. And
I never even thought about this.
But
you do feel good when you leave there.
Yeah. It was so psychologically important for us to continue that. When the restaurants closed and it was to go only, we sat in the freezing cold and had breakfast.
Yeah.
Because that's where I dump.
Yeah.
When I go home, my wife is like, how was work? It was work.
Yeah.
I always say worky.
It was work. Yeah. And, we move on from that. We don't have long, drawn-out conversations about work. It's like, because I left and dumped all of that. Yeah. So, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to make that point, after you.
No, I wanted to ask James, I wanted to ask him, it's like you were just talking about, it's a lot for us. Like I said, it's a lot to think about and a lot to manipulate. There's a lot of moving parts, and I don't know anybody who can manipulate all of them to make it so sound to where you are comfortable. So I want to ask you, what's your impact? Like, out of all your research, out of all of your studies, and I know you're teaching, like I said, and I'm super envious of all educators. Like I told you, that's my dream.
Hey,
like to be an educator.
I'll invite you to guest lecture. Just don't curse.
You know what? I can do that. My mom asked me not to curse so much on the podcast all the time. I won't lie. I try to be plain as possible.
I think you started cursing much more. Since
You know what?
That.
I probably. My mom asked me not to curse last week, and like I told my mom, I don't try to intentionally curse.
Yeah.
But I.
That's how you express yourself.
You know what it is, man. You know I can't talk like this at work, but I take this podcast and I want the grand sum of everybody.
Yeah.
And I never want to get. And Clint will tell you this. You know me. I can't never get too far from. And I hate. It's cliche to say I'm always gonna remember where. Fuck all that, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that. I don't mean like that. I mean, I'm never going to be something different. You can always talk to DeAngelo. I'm DeAngelo every day. I'm the same way.
Good.
I'm always gonna be the same way. You can't pay me enough.
Right.
You can't put me in front of enough people to where I want to change how I speak. I want to make sure, because like I was telling you, if we not speaking, if we only are speaking to the literary scholars and we are not speaking to the wino in front of the liquor store, then
There's a problem.
essentially we have not reached the masses.
Yes.
And then our message is lost, because
Exactly.
when I talk to people, when I write something, when I do my poetry, James, that ain't for you, man. I already know you know.
There you go.
I already know you know. It's for the point who don't know, who see somebody who they can relate to, who speak like them and talk like them, who might be from where they from or a place like they from. I don't try to reach people in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I try to bring Atlanta to you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I represent. I represent my God and my city every time I talk. And so, and the things I believe, and I believe I can bring that with me. Like, and so I want y'all to know, James told me I was negative before we got on the podcast, but I always want to make sure that I give all the different viewpoints of things. And I was telling my friend, my homeboy's like, so are you the comic relief for the podcast? I said,
you get me.
You know what I told my homeboy? I said, anybody who knows me in real life knows that I'm not an unintelligent man. And they know that I'm very conceited in my intelligence. And so if you asking me, am I going to take our hour in a podcast and try to get my own personal shit off to show how much I know or some shit that I've accomplished? No, I'm not, man. I'm gonna have a good time and I'm gonna speak to my folks. And that's what I like about it. But the question for you is, now that I told you about me, what is your impact?
No, thank you for that question. First of all, I want to clarify that, I was just talking about it in an education setting. Yeah. Thank you for getting that off your chest. Okay.
Subtle shot. I love it.
But no, that's a good question, because like you were saying before, if we don't implement it, then what's the point? If we don't actually go out and actually do something about it, then what are we doing, right? So you've mentioned, rightfully so, that I'm an educator. So I'm standing in front of class and actually teaching this stuff. So that's one of the impacts, right? Yeah. And then two, I am mentoring minority researchers. So I'm creating a movement or a group of educated folks who can use the same language, or even better language. I want them to use better language and better ways of explaining these things that can actually impact our groups in a positive manner. And I'm saying our groups, meaning minority groups, in a positive manner. Number three, as a father of Black children, I want my neighborhood to be safe. I want my friends to be people who are, growing me and have good families and have healthy and robust families. So we having conversations like this, even when the mics are off, meaning that even the three of us, before we got here, we were talking about, hey, what are you doing? What's something good that you're doing in your family? What's something, what's a good neighborhood that, I can put a little something, a little piece of land. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of stuff that I'm saying. I'm actually going into the situations and creating groups for parents who want to grow their children to know each other, to have a group of minority kids playing together. That's a positive impact, right? And then number four, I just think that networking with folks like you is important too. And this kind of ties into number three, right? That's something that I'm actually actively doing something. Being on this podcast is actively dispersing my information and telling people, hey, this is what I do and this is how I do it. And that's, I think, is an important thing. And we're trying to reach the masses like you're talking about. Yeah. But at the same time, going back to the academic part of it, we actually create interventions. So as public health specialists, we create interventions that we can implement in the society. For example, people during COVID, some scholars, not me, but some scholars have created online chat functions for older people who are isolated to talk to college kids.
Yeah.
You see? So that is a direct impact that people are doing in research realms to impact health and well-being. Now, at the age of my career, I'm still at the level of getting my studies to a level where I can do the interventions, right? So basically, the way funding works is that I need to show people that I've done some stuff. And that's where I'm at right now. Right. I'm doing the gentrification and aging, so that when I go to National Institute of Health, I tell them, hey, I studied Portland people, I studied 50 people. It's not a big number. Now I want more money so that I can study Portland and DC and Chicago and California and Minneapolis and Detroit, places that have been really gentrified, so that we understand what's going on. So that's where I'm at my age of my career. So next step would be, okay, these were my findings. What can I create that will impact my people's health and well-being from my findings? And that is the part that I feel like research is still lagging, so that we professors are still talking in our pedestals and we've not gotten enough of work out there to really impact health and well-being in this society. So that's what I'm doing.
Man, I want you to know the podcast ain't over, but you've been a pleasure. I know. I say that I know it's not over, but I want just listening to that, and I feel like someone lesser than a person who dreams the way I do might think that is idealistic. But even if it is, I love the part you said about what you are doing by creating the next generation of you.
Yes.
And I think that it's important that we do things like that. I think I have no idea where
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Look at the three of us. We're at least 32. The youngest person's 32 or whatever. Maybe this guy's 62. But the point
hell. Clint is 52. He'll kill you.
Hey, you take a lot of shots.
He do take shots, don't he?
We're going to delete this whole goddamn podcast. Because I'm that petty.
But that's the point. We're going to die.
Yeah.
Then my 3-year-old has
that is not the point. Hold on, Dr. James. God damn. He said the point is we gonna die.
Hey.
No, that's not the point.
I'm not eating no more steak and drinking no more liquor.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm not, he trying to kill us all.
I know. He still drinking his Hennessy. He like, God damn it, I'm finna take my shot. Listen, the point is y'all gonna die. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to clip your point, man.
Oh, that was good. But we need to raise the next generation of scholars, next generation of podcast hosts, next generation of comedians and poets. You know, so we have to do that. So as an educator, I cannot be just the person who stands in front of the class and goes through the slides and that's the end of it. And also, this is me being aware of where I stand and the position I play in our society. Because you have a role, he has a role, and I do. My lane, like you're talking about earlier, is education.
Right.
And if I'm going to be educating people and I bring them to your place of work and your place of work and they're not smart, then you should look at me and say, yo, James,
wait.
You're failing us.
I can't do shit with your boy.
yeah.
You need a redo on this one.
Tell him hold that resume. I ain't gonna need that one.
Yeah. Then you can put the blame on me. But that's me having the awareness. But now, here's the thing though. In tenure track faculty jobs like myself, you are taught not to be the workhorse for minority kids. I will repeat. You are taught that, you know what, it's not your job to be the mentor of minority children. Because if everybody's diverse and smart, they should be able to handle minority students.
Right.
But that speaks to a different level. Then in that case, we should. Then are we? First of all, you can't do that because what you're then doing saying. Wait, are we saying that we are all on the same level and we should all be able to progress naturally?
Basically, the assumption is
okay. Then
my mentor would tell me, James, by the way, don't take all the black kids. Don't tell all the black kids to come to you and work with you because Professor John should be able to do that. The same thing you'll be doing.
Well, just ask him to go ahead and dismantle systemic racism, and then we'll go ahead and get on it.
There you go.
What the fuck you talking about? I'm sorry. You just told me not to cuss.
No.
Now, in my job, being in management, especially being a a black manager.
Right.
People who are going through problems who happen to be a people of color, you know, African Americans or whatever, they're typically come to me or they're sent to me.
Clint didn't hire me.
No, he cannot work for me. Sorry. This is enough.
Right.
Right. We continue our relationships to this podcast and phone calls. That's it. But, you know, I would have a lot of African Americans come to me and they would explain the problems that they have in adapting to the company because some of these folks are fresh out of college.
Yes.
You know, some of them are, you know, they're used to working with engineers now and they don't have the social ability.
They just smart.
To work in that environment. Because now they're not just dealing with projects, they're dealing with people.
Yeah.
And that's different for people who's going out for engineering degrees of, you know, that nature, like yourself. You're only 32 years old. What that means is you pretty much went from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, grad school, and then you became a professor and you're still in the learning environment.
Yes.
Now, if I was a therapist and I had the ability to be a therapist, I'd be like, this guy, you know, I don't know if he can adapt to working with people because he's just been educating himself and working on projects.
Professional student.
Right.
Yeah.
But now when you go back,
Oh, you've heard it before. Don't look at me like that, doctor.
You
I know, that was a shot. I saw you.
But when you go back to where your colleagues are telling you, no, don't take on all of the black folks. Well, where do they go to be comfortable?
And that's the thing.
I say that because I went to, you know, when I was a new manager, I went to my boss and I said, hey, you know, a lot of black people come to me. He's not black, but he's a minority. He said, a lot of black people come to me and want to talk. He said, listen, take as many of them in and help them out, but make sure you're willing to do the same thing for any and everybody. And it was like, okay, somebody outside my minority group is validating the attention that I'm giving to other people, but wants to make sure you give this same attention to everybody.
Fair.
And it has to be fair across the board. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, and I like that. And you bring up the issue of, but where do they go to be comfortable?
Right.
And now remember, a lot of institutions, apart from the HBCUs, are majority white.
Yeah.
So that means their professors are 99.9% white. Again, I have to underline this because I don't want to be attacked online that I hate white people. No, it's just they're whatever, but it's not about, you know, just going to a white professor. There's something that I understand that the white professors do not. Now, if I am told, you know what, they're not your burden, blah, 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 of course I can buy into that narrative, but I'm not. I'm choosing not to because I am being very aware that I play a part in academia that many people do not have the advantage or do not have the privilege to play. Meaning that we do not have enough black professors out there helping some black students in our education system. So this is to say that at the end of the day, the way the system is set up, the system is not set up to reward the unpaid duty or job that I will be giving to all these black kids. That's why literally they tell us, you know what, lighten your load. Just work with 3, 4, 5 kids who are very good, very smart, and, you know, move on. You know what I'm saying? So we're told basically do not go out of your way to include more minority kiddos.
So, you know what, Doc, I'm going to have to ask you this question.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, where are you originally from? You said you were immigrant. Where
Yes.
are you originally from?
Kenya.
Now, being that some of these black students want to come to you to speak to you because they feel more comfortable. Now, I have to ask this question. With you being from Africa, do you have the same African American experience that African Americans have being from Africa and being an immigrant?
That's a fantastic question. And it's a topic that we've talked about a lot, meaning that in the education system, and really myself, I've immersed myself in such conversations. The answer to that is no. But I have educated myself enough about the plight of black people who were born in the United States, enough to know what the challenges of African American identifying student would face in the education system. So meaning that I've read, I've talked to people like yourself, influential people who are educating me on this stuff. My wife is an African-American identifying woman. So I've been socially educated to know what the plight of black people is in the United States. And heck, I'm going through it right now too.
Whoa.
Right? Yeah. Like I'm going through it right now because if someone sees me out there, they're seeing a black person. They're not seeing a Kenyan.
Yes.
They're seeing a black person. And it took me a while to learn this. And we were talking before we got here. It's about, a racial identity, like how we identifying ourselves as a race. Now, I'll give you a history lesson. When African immigrants come here, their system teaches them that you're different, you're better, you're decent, right? We speak the Queen's English. We don't speak Ebonics, right? We come here, most of us, because of the embassy system. We're rich. Most of them are not poor. Yeah, there's refugees, but that's a whole different categories. But many students who come here are not poor because your embassy in these African nations makes sure that we have some money in the bank, that we're not poor people.
Wow.
Yes. Your embassy actually makes it so that we're coming here higher status.
Meanwhile, we got homeless on the side of the street that called them. I'm sorry, I digress.
No, but it's important to know this because now when I come here, Hollywood is showing me that African Americans are the robbers. They're dying. They're bad. They're doing drugs. They're shooting 2-year-old kids.
And that's exactly what they.
But they're not showing us the Tyler Perrys. People are doing good stuff. I mean, of course, these people have their own faults and people can punch holes. But the point is, you're not comparing apples to apples. You're not comparing the cream of the crop of African Americans with the cream of the crop from Africa. Yeah. Of course, Africa has people who are bums too, just as African Americans do. But that's not what the again. It's just literacy levels are not good enough for people to actually nuance these conversations, right? And so I come in here, I'm told, you're better, you're speaking the Queen's English, you're doing good stuff, you're educated, you're a smart guy. In fact, you came here and won good scholarships, so you're a smart dude. So if you stay in that cocoon as a black person from Africa and do not educate yourself about the plight of black people in the United States, then you will get a very rude awakening one day. Exactly. When someone actually calls you the N-word and tells you you're lazy, tells you you're a bum, tells you depend on government handouts. Right. So one day that will happen to you and then you're like, oh, I'm black. You'll be like, I'm black. So what's happening to you at this point or to this individual at this point is they're going through a racial identity development. So now that they're noticing that they're black, they're not special because they're from Africa and they're smart. You're black. Right? And we were saying earlier that Dr. West was reminded very quickly that he's still black, even with his education, right? He's still a black man.
You think that's a culture shock when that happens as well?
Yes, it's a culture shock because now all of a sudden you're being told, hey, you're in the United States. The United States is based on racism, and yes, we hate you because you're black. Yeah. And again, remember, we come here without the concept of race.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I'll explain. We come here knowing tribes. What tribe are you from? Who's your mama? Who's your clan? That vibe.
Right.
Yeah, we know there's white people, but we're like, they're from Europe, they're from America, whatever. There's Chinese people, they're from there. The concept of race is not big in our country. We do not identify on our forms, government forms, this is my race. No, none of that. So you come here, you just think I'm Kenyan. I'm not black, white, yellow, nothing. I'm just Kenyan. And then the concept of race is introduced into your system very quickly when you have to deal with an issue that is contentious.
Yeah. I can see that being shocking.
Yeah. So you ask, does my experience compare? In some ways it does, because also we've been persecuted, etc. We were colonized. So we know about, the centralizing of whiteness, right? But it's in a different context. Now, when I came here, I had to educate myself to learn about the history of black people here and the persecutions, etc. for me to understand what these kids are going through.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So I know what the schools teach you here, as far as primary school, high school. Mm. You grew up in Kenya, yes? You were formerly educated there. Yes. I have a question. Mm. Is the rest of the world learning the history of America? If America is the greatest country in the world,
no.
You get the question.
That's a good question.
You get the question, though, right?
No, I get it. I think the history of America is being seen or viewed through Hollywood more than class system. I'll explain that. Meaning that we're learning about America more in the movies than we're learning it in class. In my class, I was learning more about the British system because we were colonized by the British and not America. In the French colonized countries, they'll learn more about the France. Yeah. So America is there. Yeah, we know about it, but we see it more in the movies. That's why I said the movies are depicting what? The drug addict in the corner is a black man. The thief, the robber, is a black man. The person who dies first is a black man. The person who is in the projects is a black person. They're not highlighting Appalachian Mountains. There's a bunch of white people who are broke and homeless and on cocaine and crack, right? They're not so we're not seeing that part. So all we're seeing is that the CEO is white, that this is that. So that is inherently being put in our minds that black people are bums, black people are this, black people are that, right? Now, it behooves an African who comes here to actually learn, have discussions with African Americans, talk, read a book, view a documentary that will actually teach them about the plight of African Americans in the United States. And there's always a contention between those two groups.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Isn't that problematic once you actually get here? And in I guess going back to the last podcast, it breeds contempt, and now you have the race relations between Africans and African American people, then blacks, and fine. You come here. Say you come here, and now you already have this preconceived notion of who I am.
Yes.
Before you even meet me.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me piggyback on that.
Does that kind of yeah?
Let me piggyback on that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. But let me piggyback on that.
Yes, sir.
It was said on a Facebook group that we both follow. Africans are told that when they come to America, not to get into the African American struggle because it doesn't involve you. Keep yourself away from.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
Right. So my question is, you coming from Kenya.
Yeah.
Were you told that to stay away from the African American struggle and just to focus on what you came here for?
Or you just knew better?
This is a good question. The first part of it is no. I was not told by anybody. But there's inherent conversations. For example, microaggression. You're talking to some white colleagues or white students, and they're saying, no, you're different, man. You're from Kenya.
See, stupid shit like that.
That line, they're not going to tell you stay out of their struggle.
You different until you go home.
Yeah, they're going to tell you, you're different. You're doing well in school. You wear your pants on your waist. Stupid things like that. And so that's setting you aside from the African Americans. Now, the problem is this narrative comes from who, right? Who is telling us this story? So again, it's a conquer and divide situation that has been, in history forever. Anybody who's a colonizer teaches the minority people, hey, you're better. Like in this room right now, he would be chilling in the house. I would be in the plantation.
Yeah.
Because I'm darker.
I'd be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you'd be somewhere in the middle. So I'm darker toned than DeAngelo. So again, that is the white person telling us, if you're light and look like me, aka you Kenyan, you're speaking the Queen's English, or you look so nice, your pants are on your waist, blah blah blah. You're better. The African American chilling out there with a loud car with like rims on his cars is a terrible person.
You know what? This is what's crazy about. My nieces taught me. Well, they didn't teach me, but they talk a lot about colorism.
Yeah.
One is dark and one is light, and then in the middle there's featureism, right? You can be light skinned, but if you have more, African features,
tones,
then that light skin doesn't matter. But this is one thing I noticed. My wife and I, we went to Jamaica to get married, right? And while we were there, I noticed environments. I noticed everything around me. My wife is like, "You got a problem," because I'm noticing stuff that the average person, maybe they would or wouldn't, I don't know, but she thinks I'm weird for it. But everyone that was in the reception area, right? They were fair-skinned or light-skinned Jamaicans. Everyone that was in housekeeping or some type of servitude,
I'm not about to let you slang the Jamaican.
every last person was of darker complexion. And when I tell you darker complexion, it was almost like someone purposely.
I don't know if I don't believe you or this is sad. I can't even tell which one.
But you know what?
It's both.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I have, one of my white friends
Yeah.
observed the same thing, and it's like, people talk to me because I'm open-minded on every end of the spectrum. And it was like, we went here, we went to the Caribbean, and this is what I noticed is, am I bad for noticing that? I was like, no.
I mean, colorism is a real thing.
It's happening.
But colorism is real.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the girls that was serving our table, and, she was, and that was the first person I know. She was, she was darker skinned. And we were talking to her, and she was actually 3 weeks away from becoming a doctor and had been given an offer to go to California to finish up, whatever the practices is before you actually get the doctor thing. And I'm like,
residential, something like that.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, in her own home country of Jamaica, because her skin is darker, you can only wait tables. You can't be at the reception desk greeting the majority of white guests coming in. And I thought that was crazy. So, it just plays into, society, as a whole looks at you as Kenyan. They would look. Well, they're not gonna look at me this way, but they'll look at DeAngelo as a common thug.
I just want to let you know next time, go to Sandals. Have you been to Sandals, Jamaica? It is very nice.
And that's exactly where I was at.
I was hoping you wasn't gonna say that. I was hoping you were not gonna slander. My favorite resort out there, Yohanas.
Listen.
Sandals is dope.
I was at a Sandals resort. That's where
Hey, don't do that, man. Let's go.
No.
I was joking. I swear to God. I didn't know we was married at Sandals. Don't do that.
Let me tell you something. I love Sandals. I would recommend it to anyone.
After he just said they in here practicing.
They better sponsor you.
But you know what? This is the thing I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I don't think people really know that they're purposely doing that.
Yeah.
They pick this person because they feel. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I'm gonna say this. I'm
not the right complexion to disagree with you. I want to disagree with you. I'm
gonna tell you this, and you've heard it. Most darker skinned women have heard it. Dark skinned women here, you cute to be dark skinned.
Hey man, let's not get into a colorism conversation.
Now, and I'm gonna tell you this: have you felt this, or has someone somewhat implied?
They've talked about the tone and the smoothness of my skin. I've heard that a lot.
Or they talk about the way you speak. It's like you speak very intelligently with that frown or scowl on their face, like it's shocking.
You just slap them with a degree.
Yeah. That's a microaggression, right? Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and and people look at you with a frown on the face, like
you're not supposed to be.
Right.
Because in their mind, you're messing up with their mind.
Let me tell you
You're not supposed to be speaking clean. Yeah.
Where are you from? Now they look at DeAngelo and they go, he from the south side of Atlanta.
I'll tell you what though. First of all,
College Town, College Park.
I'm from the east side. Don't you ever disrespect the six, the real six.
Cater where it's greater.
Hey, for sure.
Yeah.
But
buddy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When people tell me I speak well, I think that shit is a direct insult.
It is an insult.
And it's an insult to my father. It's an insult to my mother.
Yeah.
It's an insult to my grandmothers and grandfathers. It's an insult to everybody. And you know what I tell them? All my brothers speak the same way, and my family, but I had a grandmother who was an educator. I got a lot of educators in my family.
Good.
And they don't allow you to speak a certain way. So regardless of how I sound when I'm just with Clinton,
so what he's saying is he doesn't care about you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to lie and say that I speak correctly at work, but I don't, because I feel like I'm already at work. I'm not about to.
I'm from California, so you got to try to one up me and use a big word, and then I got to go Google it and be like,
Clinton's trash ass Compton Public Schools has ruined him.
Hey, listen,
I'm dragging him out of the muck and mire.
I got a degree from a Compton college. Okay, No, but
that's an oxymoron.
No.
Compton College.
There's a college in Compton.
Sure, there is, Clint.
Yes, it is. It's called Compton Community College.
Yeah, there you
now
go.
They lost funding for a while, and it became El Camino Community College. Now it's back to Compton College.
That shit sound like somewhere you go to get your driver's license.
Hey, man, listen. Hey man, don't have me bring some Compton folks willing to put Compton on the map in Portland. Set you straight.
Don't worry about it. Beaverton police is quick.
Hey, some of my old OGs, they can still see.
But Dr. James, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I just the biggest thing I'm taking away from this whole conversation is I think it's dope that you are 32. Like, mine is all of your personal accolades.
What were you doing at 32?
Honestly?
Yes.
Doing a lot of partying.
Wait, my age is the biggest thing you took out of this?
No. Clint stopped me. Clint stopped me in the middle. No, mine is the accolades and things.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is that at 32, you already know that you want to
change the world.
You want to plant seeds of trees of whose shade that you do not plan on enjoying. You know what I'm saying? You want to provide something for the generation coming up behind you.
Yeah.
That you understand already at 32 that whatever your legacy is will not be simply to you.
Yeah.
Your legacy will be built by others, and I feel like that's dope because I feel like at 32 it's like a lot of people don't step into it. You know what I'm saying? Don't step into the fact of knowing that, this shit ain't about me. That this world is bigger than me. And that is what I'm taking more from this whole conversation. That, like, I had no idea. I mean, I read your bio. However, I'll be honest with you. Where I work, I work with brilliant people.
Yeah.
I work with brilliant people. They're not even fucking smart. They are brilliant. And so because of that, you get used to
smart talk.
You know what's so crazy? And I hate to say shit like this because it sounds elitist.
Yeah.
I talk to brilliant people every day. However, it's one thing for your resume to be complete. Something else to want to do something with your resume that will not directly enrich you or your family. Right. You get what I'm saying? Though?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm taking away from it. Okay. I think that part is dope to me. That shit is dope to me.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. And I think that realization for me, it came from several places. After reading so many books, so many posts, so many influencers, etc., you learn very quickly that, the wheels of justice or the wheels of policy do not move as fast as we want them to. But the three of us sitting here and our close networks can start doing things, grassroots type of stuff that will have, waves of change, right? And I think that's where it came from, right? Like, if I take the defeated mentality, which I acknowledge and I know is there, I know that we've been persecuted and we're coming from a very deficit perspective. We're also thriving.
It's good to hear somebody say it. Like, I feel sometimes it's easy to lose sight.
Yeah, dog. Like, we're also thriving. In fact, the example that I just gave about, a kid in the street with a car with big tires and bumping music, etc. That kid is not a bum. That's what makes him happy at that moment. You yesterday went
That's
gambling.
Just where that's just where he is.
Yes, and he's thriving.
Right. Yeah.
And but the way scholars and public health people have started viewing a kid like that this is the example of a quote unquote bad neighborhood, right? So you see a car with tinted rims, tinted windows, big tires, big like 15s in the back. All of a sudden, this is sign of bad neighborhood moving in, right? But this is a kid who's just having
because I only got 10.
I don't got shit. I don't want to call no attention to me.
Same here, my friend. No attention at all.
No attention.
Oh my God.
Hey, Doc, I want you to do this before we close this out.
Yeah.
Kind of bring us home.
Okay.
With everything that you see in our societies.
Right.
And your study in our societies,
right,
and where you're trying to get to with those studies. And then give us all of your contact information to where people can reach out to you and maybe shoot you an email if, I'm putting him on the spot. Yeah, we want your email address because we want to be educated.
Excellent.
I'm glad. Now I got to ask my question. I was going to ask you, what's your impact? What's the lasting impact? So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for having me here, and of course, the people in the background as well. I don't know if they mentioned their names here, but I want to appreciate them as well. But you ask me, so what? That's the question you're asking. The so what part of it is that, one, I study relationships, and they do matter. So not only quantity, but quality. In fact, research is showing that quality is more important. So let's say, for example, you have your kids over, you're having a daddy-daughter, daddy-son type of situation, put the phone down, have a good time. Or if you're on the phone, better be the two of you playing a game together, not separately. You know what I'm saying? So if you're beating him or her at a game, then you're at least doing it together. Quality part of it is very important. Again, it sounds very mundane and very basic, right? But it's something that people often forget a lot. So what this has done is that, people are hurting because we're not rectifying situations with, my mama didn't call me on my birthday. It's your birthday. Your mama gave birth to you. Relax. Go apologize. Be a big person. Talk to your mama. There's small issues that we can fix real quick and start healing from within as a people. And this means fixing things like, your friend scratched your car, etc., etc. We figure it out, move on, because that friend is very important to your health and well-being. Number two, our health is very complex and it's impacted from many ways. You talked about individual health. DeAngelo was really consistent on this, that individual agency needs to be highlighted as well. That's true. But also there's relationships, there's family, there's society, there's policy, etc. Now, what I'm doing with all this is I'm trying to be an advocate of our minority groups, but also an influencer of their health. An advocate in the sense that in the academic community, I'm using my voice, although still very little. I'm using that voice to say that we do not always have to study sexual transmission, absent fathers, public health and poor well-being, and using government health property. Right. That's not all.
They think that's where we all are.
Right? Like, who is doing the study about thriving people? Like, who is doing the studies about thriving grandmas who actually withstood the gentrification and they're doing well? You see what I'm saying? So nobody's doing all that. Well, very few people are. But if they're doing it, they're either white, they don't understand the nuances, etc. But we need a stake on that table. That's the advocate part of it. The influencer part of it is, now that I've learned these things, I am going to use, again, the system that exists, which is funding, grant writing, education, and mentorship, all those systems to actually create interventions based on relationships. So not just any kind of interventions, because I focus on relationships. I'm going to create interventions based on social relationships. For example, I could create an intervention based on best friends. So I'll create a program where best friends meet every Friday over breakfast, right? Like your example, and talk about things that we actually dictate, so that it's influencing their health and well-being. Maybe we can create a group of people who are dealing with, drugs and recovering. So we're creating a situation where it's funded by the government, funded by health organizations, and we're actually impacting change in our communities. Because we already know that these friendship ties exist. Yeah. But what I'm doing is giving you the tools as best friends to, today you're meeting over breakfast, but I'm giving you these frameworks that I want us to work on, these questions that will actually help you deal with your wellness. Now, and that's the influencing part of it. So, I am an assistant professor at the University of Oregon, and you can find me by just Googling my name. You can find my studies on Google Scholar,
Spell it for me.
James, and my last name is Muruthi. And my email address is muruthjr@uoregon.edu. Again, that's public information. You can find it anytime you want. On Facebook, I quit Facebook for 10 weeks because I'm going to teach starting Monday. So I quit social media depending on the focus that I need to be working on. I'm on Instagram, Dr. DOCTA Doctor.
Do you follow 2 Cent the podcast?
I do follow the podcast.
Okay.
_ Simba SIMBA. So,
all right, so say that again, because he so rudely interrupted.
Well, I said that subliminally because I want them to be able to follow him. If they follow us, then they can follow him because they'll go to our followers. Clint, I knew what I was doing, but I understand that you were a little behind.
Yes, I do.
GED.
It does the Crompton College business. Yeah. Anyway, so my IG is Dr. DOCTA _SIMBA. And I do follow the 2 Cent the podcast.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man, that's what's up, man. We appreciate you. You know what?
I want to invite you to breakfast too.
I want to come.
If you are in the Hillsborough area.
I got cut off, but it's okay.
I'm sorry. I'll tell you the restaurant offline. I don't want these I don't want other people showing up.
Yeah.
I was almost negative. You saw I looked at you and I stopped that. I didn't want to tell people where we be at for breakfast. I don't need no ambushes. So every 8:30 every Wednesday morning, me and the fellas, we have breakfast.
All right. That's good to know.
DeAngelo Gillespie, I want to say to you, you are very important to my mental health.
You goddamn right. You goddamn right I am.
To a friend of the show, Andre Floyd, you are very important to our mental health.
Can I just talk to James about Dre?
Hey.
We got a partner who is like, he is the most feelingest. and I say this with all the love in the world because I love him.
Yeah.
He keeps us grounded as far as, he reminds us that
it's okay to love.
He tell us he love us.
Good.
Every time he see us,
Good.
He reminds us to lower our goddamn masculinity and ego when we around him. He is the most.
Refuse.
So I'm gonna say it. He the most feelingest ass nigga that I've ever met.
But you see, he's so important because
he is
lower
important.
those guards down and start healing as black men.
He is important.
Hey, let me tell you.
I mean, we still gonna bring the guns, but we gonna try to love you. We gonna try to love you at first. Though.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. Hey, Andre just recently filled up my closet with some button downs.
There you go.
It was only one that was too big,
listen.
but the other one, you know.
Dre gave me a goddamn gangster suit.
Yo.
He gave me a jumpsuit, and I'm never wearing it outside, but I appreciate it, player.
I give you $20 to post that on 2 Cent the Podcast.
Let's do it.
That $20 is safe.
Hey, Andre Floyd, I want to thank you. You are part of our mental health, and I thank you.
He
Gary
always tells
Owens,
us,
Sheena Owens, thank you. La Libra. She's part of the team. She's part of the 2 Cent Podcast team. She's the lady of 2 Cent the Podcast.
Oh, Maria gonna kill
she's
you.
got
Maria gonna kill you.
Hey, you know what? Maria's in the background doing some magnificent thing,
go.
booking flights and flying in
Big up,
folks
Maria.
for the podcast.
Thank you, Maria.
Maria's down. Maria's the communicator because I'm telling you, I couldn't do it. I couldn't, you know.
Professional too.
Yeah.
I can't deal with DeAngelo for sure.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And he already done called me fat 7 times. So, you know, I hope he loses his doctorate degree somehow. But Maria Hammer, we appreciate you keeping us afloat, flying folks in, making sure we, stay on task and booking the people that you book. We appreciate you. Yeah. Hey, Jai, Security, Green, thank you guys for being a part of our mental health and always supporting us. I'm feeling a little touchy-feely like Dre right now. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's it, man. We don't know nobody else. Oh, we got a shout out Eva and Tyler.
Hey, Nisi, keep them shaking over there, baby. Keep them shaking.
Hey, don't do that, man.
Hey Tyler
notes,
West, my nephew.
You have notes?
Tyler West, my nephew, I appreciate you. Eva, my little niece, she running around out here. Eva the poet. She's the baby in the crew. We appreciate you for always supporting and always being a part of our mental health.
Huh?
I don't take notes. All my notes is right up here. That's why God gave me this big noggin. But
I appreciate you, sir.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
It was really a pleasure, man. And outside of all of this, I know you live a little ways, but I want you to know, me and Clinton, all bullshit aside, we are building things we want to see in this city. I feel like there's a lot of people out here who complain about this city, and I'm not saying this city is not without its flaws.
Yeah.
What I am saying is, we take a different approach to things. Like and we want our podcast to be good. We want it to be informational and entertaining. But at the end of it, you are welcome here. And I'm really glad you reached out, and I am really glad we got a chance to do this, because I'm gonna be honest with you. When Maria presented you, I didn't know what we would talk about. I didn't know what we would find in common. I mean, and honestly, we knew we wanted to speak to you. I just personally didn't know where it would go. Now that I've met you, I'm telling you, black man and black man, please come in. Yeah, please come in. You are welcome. Like, me and Clinton definitely welcome you. My partners, they gonna love you. Dre definitely gonna fucking love you. Dre definitely gonna fucking love you. But we really, and I mean
we need
that,
more Dre's amongst us.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. We are positive, strong black men.
There you go.
We are I want to say we are all married. However, I'm not. But I'm the only one not married.
Well,
but don't worry.
Get you hitched. Yeah.
Well, that won't be necessary. But but I want you to know, man, you got a circle. You got a support system. We are here to help.
Yeah.
If you need us, reach out for us. We are those type of men. We are you call us, you can explain it while we in the car.
There you go. So, thank you.
I mean, because when I call Clint, no, get up and get in the car, and I'm gonna tell you what the fuck is going on as you make your way to Beaverton. So, but all bullshit aside, I appreciate you, sir.
I do. The love is mutual. So thank you very much for having me.
Dr. James Muruthi has come down and blessed us with his presence, his words of wisdom, his study. You guys research him, check him out. He's gave you his information, so that means he wants you to reach out to him. I don't know if he gonna contact you back because I know
he busy, man. He about to start teaching,
he's got some courses of studies. But you know what? You know what?
He'll have one of his people get with your people.
Hey, the Ducks are blessed to have him. Sir, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And we thank your wife and family for, them disbanding and going off to do something so we can do this podcast.
I thought we was going to go to Eugene. I appreciate you coming over to my place.
Yeah, that's a lot of gas money on your budget. Yeah.
So I was going to ride with you.
Hey, this has been another episode of Two Sit the Podcast, and we appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you so much.
Bye, friends.
This has been 2 Cents, the podcast, hosted by Clinton Washington, with co-host DeAngelo Gillespie, brought to you by Underway Entertainment and Pound the Pavement Productions. Thanks for listening.